Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Lines Live. It is the second round of the playoffs. My name is Samuel Higgs, and I am the sports editor for the Alex City Outlook and the Dadeville Record, joined by sports reporter for the Tallahassee Tribune and Wetumpka Herald, Anna Sophia Meyer. And like I mentioned at the top of the episode, this is the second round of the playoffs. But before we get into some of the matchups that we got going on tonight, I want to give another shout out to Dunning Roofing for being a sponsor of Inside the Lines Live. They have been our day one since the beginning of this season as far as supporting Inside the Lines Live. So again, I want to give them a shout out. If you have any roofing needs, be sure to get in contact with them. Their number is down there at the corner. But other than that, I am joining you guys from the Benjamin Russell versus Theodore game here in Alexander City. Anna Sophia, how about you tell us where you're at tonight?
I am at the Elmore County Williamson football game. It's round 2 of the playoffs. It's a great night, great weather. It seems like all of Eclectic is here tonight, which is awesome. Love to see it. It's going to be some really good Friday night football tonight.
I was about to say, I'm looking at the stands right now. It is still filling up as far as the Benjamin Russell side. Theodore looking a little light, but you have to kind of put into context that this is like a 2-3 hour drive for them. But I will say, whenever I got here, there was a gentleman with a big burly white beard that was sitting on the Theodore sidelines, and he was dancing. He was dancing the entire time, danced for 30 minutes straight. Now, not so much. He's just watching the action that's going on the field. But love that enthusiasm because, again, it's the second round of the playoffs. But now let's get into some of the games that we got going on. Like I mentioned, I'm here at Benjamin Russell versus Theodore, and Theodore is a very strong team. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's say it for what it is. Theodore is a strong team. They are 8-3 on the season. They are coming off a win over Stanhope Elmore last week. What was the final score? 44-27. Yes,
44-27.
44-27. But I mean, I said it in my preview this week when just looking at their schedule. To say that it was a gauntlet would be the best way to describe it, because I mean, I feel like there is this common phrase that is said amongst coaches where, you know, the road to the state championship somehow always goes through Mobile. I feel like I've heard it during baseball, I hear it during football, you hear it during volleyball, you hear it during every single sport. And, you know, that's kind of what is up in front of Benjamin Russell right now. This is a team from the Mobile area. They've played against Saraland, they've played against Baker, and they've played against Fairhope. All games that they've lost. Baker and Fairhope are 7A schools, still playing right now in the playoffs, and then Saraland is the number 1 team in Class 6A. Those are their 3 losses on the season, all against, I think, excluding Fairhope, ranked by the WSA. Alabama, yeah, got it right. So this is a strong team, and
AWSWA.
Yeah, we're trying. Alabama Sports Writers Association. We'll just say it because I can't say the letters in particular.
Yeah, say it.
I'll just say it out instead of saving us the time of trying to do an abbreviation. Looking for stats on this matchup was not the easiest thing. They don't keep Theodore doesn't keep their max preps updated, but the one thing that is updated is their rushing stats, and specifically their junior running back named Kendrick Abel Jr. Kendrick Abel Jr. in 10 games has rushed for 1,323 yards with the team high 12 rushing touchdowns on the season, good for 132.3 a game. And then while also trying to comb through for some more information about this Theodore team, if you go to 24/7 Sports and look at some of the top recruits in Alabama, the first one that jumps out to you is linebacker J.J. Bush, and then the other one is defensive tackle and Mississippi State commit. I believe his name is Devon Young. And just to put into context, J.J. Bush will be going with Zadarian Morgan and B.J. Bedgood to Shreveport, Mississippi for the Alabama-Mississippi State game. And then Devon Young will be going with Charles Chappelle and Daniel Burns to the North v South All-Star game. So there's some star talent on this Theodore team, but I feel like we've said this every single week where there is so much star talent coming in. Benjamin Russell comes in with star talent of its own. We just mentioned the 2 wide receivers, Zadarian Morgan and B.J. Bedgood. Last week, Zadarian Morgan had 160 receiving yards. B.J. Bedgood had 212 receiving yards. Both of them finished with 2 touchdowns. Then you got the 5-star quarterback, Kingston Prayer, who threw for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game. So that's just offensive firepower as it is right now, you also got to talk about Elijah Johnson, who's leading the team in interceptions. He's one of the defensive forces, especially at his safety position. The previously mentioned Charles Chappell leads the team in tackles now back-to-back years with 110 or more tackles. You got other guys that are big contributors to this defense with BJ Hicks and Caleb Kendricks also at the linebacker position. Then just also combing through the stats, you got Kendarius Poochie Bird on the defensive line leading the team with 26 tackles for loss. You got Charzell Davis, who has another, I think, 18 tackles for loss. You know, there is a lot of star talent. There's a lot of kids in this game that will be playing on Saturdays, and I think that is exciting to see a game like this. Whenever I was looking at the Alabama high school football database, I wanted to see when's the last time Benjamin Russell and Theodore have, seen each other on the football field. That's never happened. This is the first time that it's happened, and I think it's just going to be a really fun game tonight. I'm really excited to see what the outcome looks like, especially based off of the success that Benjamin Russell had last week.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions for you, Sam. Obviously, we know that, Kingston Pryor and BJ Bedgood and Cedarian had incredible seasons. All of them are, D1 commits. If they have not all committed yet, they all have D1 offers this season. Obviously, Cedarian's going to Alabama. How do you think that type of, offensive power is going to match up against another team with an offensive powerhouse? Obviously Plush plus their, JJ Bush, top defensive. Is he a defensive back or a linebacker? What did you say he was?
He's a four-star linebacker that's committed to Missouri right now.
Okay. I mean, how do you think this defense and this offense, Benjamin Russell's offense and Theodore's defense, stack up?
So I think this is going to be a really interesting game, purely based off of what happened last week. Last week, the passing game was on fire for Benjamin Russell. Every single play seemed to be for 20 yards or more. And you could probably go look back at the stats and look at Kingston's stats, and probably every completion had 20 or more yards in it. But the one thing that was a little, I wouldn't say frightening, but the one thing that you did notice was running the ball wasn't also effective against Central Tuscaloosa last week. And so I'm wondering, especially with the defensive talent that you're going to be facing in this game from Theodore, what are you going to do as far as the run game goes? I mean, Theodore just went against probably the best back in Class 6A last week in D. Barnes. D. Barnes, I think, carved out, Anna Sophia, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think 130 and 1 touchdown in that game.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'm interested to see how Benjamin Russell's run game it plays today. They have a lot of talented guys on the offensive line. And I mean, Benjamin Russell's been averaging, I think, 170 rushing yards per game, but last week, I think, put up 70 yards on the ground off the top of my head. So that's the big thing that I'm looking for in this matchup. But if we're talking purely mano-a-mano, who's more than likely going to get the better end of things? I mean, it's hard to find a secondary that can slow down Cedarian Morgan, BJ Bedgood, Eric Young, DJ Jackson with Kingston Pryor throwing them the ball. So this is going to be a good matchup. Don't get me wrong. I think the passing game is going to do what it's been doing all season and succeed. But again, I am looking towards that run game and seeing who can come out of it and who can really contribute as far as that run game goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say another factor that I found really interesting about this game is that Benjamin Russell's absolutely undefeated at home this season. They're 6-0. How do you think that kind of plays into, obviously all of Alex City is going to be out there tonight, cheering on the Wildcats. How do you think the home field advantage is going to play a factor in tonight's game?
Well, there's just a certain comfort level when you're playing in your home stadium. You don't really have to adjust your schedule really all that much from a typical regular home season game. And this is one thing that I've had conversations with Realtown's Matt Johnson, who we'll talk more about later into this episode. But not having to adjust your schedule to travel and everything like that plays such a big advantage. And plus Martin Savary Stadium is, I think, one of the better environments in all of high school football. So just having that crowd on your side and that comfort level of playing in an area that you're familiar with, I think it's just going to be extremely beneficial for Benjamin Russell tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've done enough talking about the Benjamin Russell-Theodore game. So I think, unless you got something you want to add?
No, go for it. I was floundering a little bit.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be getting into Anna Sophia's game tonight with Elmer County versus Williamson. But we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused.
A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
All right, I'm going to have to make this quick because the Benjamin Russell Band is doing their fight song right now, so we're going to have to go a little quick. But I want to give another shout out to oh, now I got quiet. Want to give another shout out to Dunning Roofing for being a sponsor for Inside the Lines Live, especially now that we're in the round 2 of the playoffs. But now, Anna Sophia, it's time to get into your game that you're at tonight. So kind of give us a little bit of insight as far as this Elmer County Williamson matchup we got going on.
Yeah, so this is a huge matchup for Elmer County. This is the first time that they've been in the second round of the playoffs since 2011. This is also the first playoff game that they've hosted since 2011. And that's why, Eclectic as a community has been so hype about this game. I mean, the stands are nearly full already. The student section is still, or no, that's where the band. The student section is still filling up, but it looks pretty lively already. This is a huge deal in Eclectic. And, when I talked to Coach Kyle Caldwell earlier this week, he just told me how proud he is of the guys and how proud the community is. I've been seeing on Facebook all week people posting, all about Panther Pride this, Panther Pride that. And these boys have really just earned this playoff berth. They beat Demopolis last week, was it 21-20 in double overtime at Demopolis last week. They absolutely fought it out. The play that won them the game was ultimately a stop at the goal line for a 2-point conversion that Demopolis was going, trying to convert, and the Panthers defense just absolutely came through like they have been all season and stopped them right in their tracks. And after the game, Kyle Caldwell, I could just hear the awe in his voice as he was talking about it and how good his team played. Gage Davis, I really have to shout him out. He's been absolutely the center of this offense. He's got 1,876 passing yards this season with 24 touchdowns. All of those are passing touchdowns. I believe he's got a few rushing touchdowns as well. Eli Thames has also been, a powerhouse. He struggled with injuries a little bit this season, but he's been back and he's been, running the ball, hitting all the gaps this back end of the season. He's got 531 yards this season with 6 touchdowns. And then on the defensive side, I got to shout out Connor Pike and Hunter Denham as 2 linebackers who just really made a huge impact all season. Connor Pike has 119 tackles this season with 4 interceptions. He's just absolutely a monster, like a huge impact player. He's also a wrestler. And you can kind of tell when he tackles and when he plays football because he just, he can just manage to bring guys down, whatever way he chooses to. And then, in accordance with, shutting out Gage Davis, he couldn't have amassed the amount of passing yards that he has this season without his top receivers in Tate McNeely, Justin Brooks, and Bo Taylor. All of them have had, on and off, like very, very, very good games. If one of them is off or not hitting as much, then, one of the other two is absolutely on and racking up all the yards and touchdowns for the game. So yeah, this is a really, really good Elmer County team, but they are the underdogs in this matchup. They're facing a Williamson team that is ranked number 1 in 5A right now by the Alabama Sports Writers Association. And they are the team, I don't know if anyone heard about this, but they're the team that put up 100 points on Murphy earlier this year. It was 100-0. The game was really controversial. Sam and I talked about this, like when the game happened, obviously we heard about it. And, there was some controversy, and just in summary, the Murphy coach ultimately decided not to have running clock in the second half, but they did end up going to running clock in the 8-minute quarter in the fourth. But, Williamson is just an absolute powerhouse. They're averaging, I believe, over 50 points per game while only allowing 5 points per game, which is just like insane, like nearly disgusting. Like it's just absolutely insane. This is a powerhouse team, like powerhouse in all caps team. And they are on a fast track to the playoffs. They've got their eyes on the prize. They played really, 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 really well this season. You really can't understate that. And the Panthers are fully aware of this. They're preparing. When I talked to Coach Caldwell this week, he said that they're just going to focus on themselves and play their game, but they definitely got to have a chip on their shoulder coming into this one. They want to prove that, despite being the underdogs, that they can, compete with the big dogs. As, I don't know what Elmer County is ranked, if they are ranked by the Alabama Sports Writers Association. But, obviously, whether it's a 4 seed going up against a 1 seed, this is a huge matchup for Elmer County. And they are going to have to play absolutely lights out on both sides of the ball, special teams included, if they want to win this game. And I think it's going to be a big challenge, but, I'm excited to see what the Panthers have in store for us tonight.
Absolutely. And I mean, to kind of put some emphasis on how well Williamson has been playing this year, I'm looking at the season, their schedule so far, and obviously the 100-0 victory stands out. But the other thing that stands out, and it's a testament to their defense, is the most points they've allowed all year in a single game is 14 points, and that was against Vigor, that went into overtime that they ended up winning, and against Eufaula that they won 50-14. So I mean, just to put that into context, Williamson is a really good team. And I mean, Anna Sophia, in your perspective, whose performance tonight is going to be the most crucial? I know you mentioned Gage Davis, but in your opinion, whose performance tonight is going to be the most impactful for Elmer County tonight?
Honestly, it's got to be the receivers. The receivers have to play really, really, really physical if they're going to want to get, completions against this Williamson defense. Ultimately, I think that's going to be the key, and I think also, this game is going to be on Kyle Caldwell. He's got a game plan, and then the players have to execute at the end of the day. You can have the best game plan in the world and know exactly how to beat a team, but if you don't execute, on the gridiron, you're not going to win the game. So it comes down to a lot of things. I think, the players knowing exactly what Williamson is going to throw at them is going to be a huge key. Caldwell was a little bit tight-lipped with me as far as, what he saw from Williamson this season and what they were going to try to throw at Williamson to try to throw them off. Understandably so, but, I'm just really, really, really excited for this game. This is one that's been, as soon as I found out that Elmer County won last week, this is the game that I've been, probably the most excited for since the Stanhope Wetumpka game earlier this season, that I have all season. This is going to be a really, really great football game. No matter what happens, obviously I hope Elmer County can pull it out and, get that underdog win. But either way, it's going to be some really good high school football tonight.
Absolutely. And I mean, just a testament to what Coach Caldwell has said, since initially taking over the position, and especially going into the season, they wanted to host a playoff game, and now they're getting the chance to host a playoff game against a really good team. So I imagine, like you said, the energy in Eclectic is probably unworldly right now, and it's probably going to be an extremely exciting environment. So super happy for Elmer County, and can't wait to see what you do as far as your coverage for that game and some of the updates that you're going to be sending us. But we still got one more game left on our slate, which is going to be the Reeltown Cottonwood game. Very excited to talk about that one, but we're going to take another quick commercial break and then get into that game. So we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused.
A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Welcome back to Inside the Lines live for round 2 of the AHSAA playoffs. We've already talked about Benjamin Russell, we've already talked about Elmer County, and now we get to the final game that's on our slate for this week, which is Reeltown at Cottonwood. And this is, I wrote about it in my preview, where it's just a weird sense of deja vu for the Reeltown Rebels in the playoffs. Two of the teams that they saw in the playoffs last year were Highland Home and Cottonwood, and that was in the third round and the semifinals. And now it's just kind of the opposite, where they see Highland Home in the first round and then Cottonwood in the next round. These teams have history, and that history is all in the playoffs. They have played each other 9 times all time in both programs' history, all of which were in the playoffs. Reeltown has the slight edge in that all-time matchup, 5-4. And I'm thinking back to that Reeltown game last year against Cottonwood. For 3 quarters, this was a tight game where the momentum was swinging in a couple different directions. And then Elijah Woods had probably his career-defining game, where he scored a rushing, a receiving, a kick return, and a defensive touchdown in that game. So it was just a phenomenal atmosphere. But you have to imagine Cottonwood's a little bit bitter from that matchup last year, and now they're the ones that have home field advantage in this matchup. Just looking at Cottonwood on this season, I believe they are 7-3-1. Yep, they're 7-3-1 right now. I can't remember. Yeah, they had their tie was at the beginning of this season. I think the game got postponed or something like that. But you look at Cottonwood, and they've been able to string together 5 straight victories going into the playoffs. They just recently took down Chickasaw in the first round, 46-7. And I think the big thing that stands out from Cottonwood on paper is their ability to run the ball. There's no true lead back like what you'd see at some of the other programs, but it is a group effort. On the season, they have rushed for 3,020 yards. They have scored 39 rushing touchdowns. They have 3 guys that have over 650 rushing yards or more, or 8 or more touchdowns on the season. So the big thing for Reeltown, and Reeltown's defense specifically, is can they stop the run? I think that they've been tested at moments this season as far as their ability to stop the run. But I mean, especially in a situation like this where it's the playoffs and it's a win or go home situation, you really need that front 7 on the Reeltown defense to step up and really slow down Cottonwood from gaining any momentum. And then offensively, I mean, the guy that I've enjoyed watching every single Reeltown game I've been at this year is Elijah Woods. He's a dynamic threat in the backfield at receiver, and he can even throw a pass if you need him to. So definitely interested on how this matchup goes. I can't wait to be seeing the updates that we get from Lizzie, who decided to make the trek all the way to Cottonwood this week, while me and Anna Sophia got some trips down the road.
Yeah, shout out Lizzie for driving 3 hours for Cottonwood.
Absolutely. That's what makes a good boss, is the one that drives 3 hours to help us out. But no, I'm very interested in this game.
Yeah, so we don't have to.
Yeah, but the playoff, how these teams have seen each other in the playoffs almost every single year is just a big deal. But yeah, I know Real Town, whenever it comes to the playoffs, they know how to play ball and they know how to play some disciplined ball. So that's the main thing that I'm looking forward to tonight is, can they play discipline? Can they stop the run? And can they play some traditional Real Town football that consists of Traylon Roberts and Elijah Woods toking the rock to get into the end zone?
Absolutely. I mean, were you at the Cottonwood game last season, Sam?
I was at the Cottonwood game. That was the third round, and that was just one of the more exciting games that I've been a part of, just watching Elijah Woods take over that game and just how exciting that game was. I think it ended 42-28, but I mean, just to put into context, I think with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it was 26-20, and Cottonwood was driving down the field. I think they were on the 30-yard line whenever Elijah Woods ripped the ball out of the ball carrier's hand and returned it back. So that was an exciting game, and hopefully not too exciting. Hopefully it's a little bit more in Real Town's favor tonight. But yeah, last year that game was extremely exciting, and just that whole Real Town playoff run last year all the way to the state championship was
Can you
some of the
imagine
most.
if it went into overtime?
Oh, I don't know. That would scare me. But I mean,
Can you imagine if it went into overtime and Lizzie had to drive back super late?
yeah. I mean, she'd get a good
I
ball.
hope
She'd
not.
she'd get a great ball game out of it, which is the most exciting thing. But yeah, Real Town knows how to get the job done in the playoffs. That's what's made them a powerhouse in Class 2A. I can't remember exactly where Cottonwood is ranked as far as the grand schemes of the Alabama Sports Writer Association rankings for Class 2A, but I want to say Real Town has a 2-team lead on them. But yeah, this is going to be a fun game. These are two teams that, again, see each other in the playoffs seemingly every single year. So this is going to be a fun one. Again, the big key for me is, can Real Town's front seven really step up to the plate? Because, I mean, Cottonwood, I think, runs more of a triple out option kind of offense where they have 3 backs in the backfield. So, I mean, you don't really have to lean on the secondary whenever they're pounding the rock at least like 40 times a game. So it's all going to come down to that front seven and if they can really step up to the plate in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Elijah Woods is just having another incredible season. He was one of your players of the year last year in football. Is that right?
It was so hard to keep him away from first team DB, but I gave him a first team wide receiver just purely based off of that playoff run that he had. He had a kick return in, I think, 3 of the 4 playoff games, and then had 1 or 2 more touchdowns added onto it in every single playoff game last year. So he's a ball player. And then Jamarcus Smith, I mean, that's a guy that, I mean, he's an extremely talented kid with the ball in his hands. It's just he hasn't had to do all that much since making his return against the Coosa game. I mean, the Coosa game was a pretty favorable victory for Real Town, so I think he threw 8 pass attempts, and then against Lee Scott, I think he threw 11, and then I think even last week against Highland Home, I don't know if he crossed over 15 pass attempts in that game. So wonder how much he's going to be involved in this game plan against Cottonwood.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Obviously, Elijah Woods can take over, on offense and on defense. That's just what he does. That's just the type of player that he is. But, if he does get shut down, Jamarcus Smith is right there. A player who can use his legs, a player who can throw just as well. I believe we talked about it in an earlier show earlier this season, but he's been scouted for the MLB since he was in 8th grade or something crazy like that. He's got an arm on him, and he's another one of the most athletic football players I've ever seen. Up there with Caleb Ballard. Honestly, I might have to give it to Jamarcus Smith as far as just dual threat over Caleb Ballard, but just 2 incredibly athletic guys. Not to mention Elijah Woods. Real Town's team is just one of the most raw, pure talent teams that I've seen this season. I've only gotten to see them 1 game, but still, I was so impressed. We'll see if I get to see them again this season, and it'll probably be you, Sam. depending on how things happen. But yeah, Reeltown is going to be a really, really hard team to beat for Cottonwood, no matter how good Cottonwood is.
Absolutely. Well, I think we have previewed all 3 games that we got going on across our coverage area. Very excited to be back doing this for the second round of the playoffs, and who knows, we might even see you next week if all 3 teams advance. But other than that, I think that's everything that I want to say. Anna Sophia, you got any lasting or any ending remarks that you want to make?
Hook 'em horns. Georgia's going down tomorrow.
I would
Get ready
disagree.
to wear some burnt orange.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but similar to how we've ended the show this entire season so far, hopefully not the final one, but a go football. All right, guys, we'll catch you later.
Go football.